Progress. Thank you all so much for joining us today for Jerry Garcia's book launch of Trumpets in the Sky once again. We're going to start off with a little bit of music from Tucker Smallwood, everyone. Please give it up for Tucker.
Long ago, once upon a time, I fell in love with music that's about 100 years old now. Music by musicians of color who lived in the Mississippi Delta, men like Son House and Robert Johnson, Charlie Patton, Mississippi John Hurt. I probably gravitated to it because I was shot through the throat in Vietnam, and though I have performed on Broadway, I am not your basic Broadway baritone. This is a Robert Johnson song called Queen of Spades. She is the Queen of Spades, and men will not let her be. Woo! Is a little Queen of Spades, and men will not let her be. Every time she makes a spread, boy, ooh, cold chills just runs all over me. Bear Brown says I am the king. Yeah, baby, and you is the queen. Woo! Baby says I am the king. Baby, Bear Brown, and you is the queen. Let us put our heads together, yeah, babe, and we can make our money green. Everybody say she got a mojo. Babe been using that stuff. Woo! Baby got a mojo. She been using that stuff. She got a way of trimming down, boy. Well, babe, and I mean it's most too tough. Okay, we're gonna drop down to drop D now. This is a Mississippi John Hurt song called Monday Morning Blues. I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning with the Monday morning blues. I couldn't hardly find. I couldn't hardly find. I couldn't hardly find my Monday morning shoes. Monday morning blues. Monday morning blues. Monday morning blues made me leave my home. Now I've been laying in jail. I've been laying in jail 6 long weeks today. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow morning, tomorrow morning, gonna be my trying day. And I asked the judge, said, what might be my fine? Get a pick and shovel. Get a pick and shovel, boy. Get a pick and shovel, go down to the mine. And that's the only time. That's the only time. That's the only time I ever felt like crying. My heart struck sorrow. My heart struck sorrow. My heart struck sorrow. The tears came rolling down. I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning with the Monday morning blues.
Thank you very much, Tucker. That was awesome. You'll get to hear him again be performing right before Jerry gets onto the stage. I think I can say stage because you've got curtains behind you. So thank you so much, Tucker. That was awesome. All right, let me introduce you all to Bryn Wickard. They are a 25-year-old non-binary poet, domestic violence advocate, collector of vintage books, and self-proclaimed San Fernando Valley rat. Their poetry has been displayed in an ekphrastic art gallery at Whittier College entitled Bridges. They are currently a board director of the Valley Contemporary Poets and have also featured at several popular readings such as Shout the Open Mic, Lamplight, The Poetry Circus, and For Two Idiots Peddling Poetry. Conjointly, additional publications include Los Angeles Poets Society, Falling Star Magazine, Rise Up Review, Acid Verse, and they have been a Moontide Poet of the Month. Please give it up for Bryn Wickard, everyone.
Hello, happy Saturday. To start, I've been writing a lot of journal entries to kind of get the wheels moving again. And I've found that it's actually really been helping. So I would like to start with the first journal entry that I wrote for 2022. Let me find this here. Okay. This is, we took communion too seriously. Third COVID shot today. I didn't want to drive an hour to see Sia, but did it anyway. GPS took me down the wrong side of the beach, Sunset Boulevard versus Temescal Canyon. Drove into 2 different country clubs, finally found each other after an hour. After a stress cry and several good hugs, we settled nicely into our favorite topics: love, gossip, books. We're both lapsed Catholics with fundamentalist families who love art and anything related to historical cannibalism. Not into shrines or serial killers, but emphatically expressing sympathy and awe for the trek through the California mountains. Do you just carry a wagon over when there's no more dirt? 2 of my brightest esoteric friends, Avi, and now I know, of course, predictably, Sia, has also read The Indifferent Stars Above. When I was pressed over parking and gas money or the future chills and shakes from the jab, I kept thinking, Sia took a plane 13 hours to get here. Children in the Donner Party ate their parents. Hannibal, the TV show, had the perfect ending. We don't know how they could walk for days on end. The biggest problem of today was a lack of cell service, and we still managed to make it work. Now, if you'll thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, my cat is trying to attack a turkey sandwich I have. And as you saw, he was joining me for my performance. He just stole an entire loaf of bread. I need you all to know this. This is a refrigerator poem that I wrote, composed while sitting in front of my itty bitty tiny studio sized refrigerator. One second, sorry about that. Naked universe, broken candy, a liquid long perfume lingers. Ferocious velvet, belly embrace, hot kiss. Will he, they, she, they, I, a they, throb, voice slowly marbling smoke. And as not a closer, but before I do Jerry's piece, I would like to read something that I wrote this morning at 6:30 a.m. and was finishing up editing as I joined the milieu. March 19th is actually a significant day in my history. It's the anniversary of my father's suicide, and I fully believe in found family. And so I think it's kind of fitting that my poetry grandfather, somebody who's taken a paternal stance in my life, invited me to do something like this on today. So with that being said, the anniversary of your suicide is as old as I was when it happened. The anniversary of your suicide is as old as I was when it happened, and 13-year-old me wakes and thinks of what you would have been thinking the night before or in the early birdsong morning. In half asleep, not yet REM dreams, you are still alive in the only confirmed memory left, a remembrance devastating as addiction or an unsanitary tourniquet, or a 32-year-old man who has hung himself in public. The memory left, like left in a crib wet and unfed, or left like driving off to crash your wife's car in an attempt. I've always known without being told. At 25, I am as old as you were in the memory. In the parking lot of a daycare, or dragging you by the hand to see the results of my first ever picture day. Hands crossed at the lap, glossy 90s print, smiling toothy, dressed in matching mossy green. You said I looked hideous. Hideous. The word marbled and ricochet. In these machinations, you are plump, the way babies should be. Not thin and pale with dark circles under their eyes. While cradling myself in my studio's bathtub, I bathe you as I pour a cup of warm water on my sudsy head. I put you in fleecy footies, lotion your elbows, knees, and toes, and brush out our thick hair. When cleaning myself with sweet-smelling soaps, feeding myself intuitively and nutritiously, buying the softest blankets, tucking in cozy and safe in a room of my own. I am doing this for who remains of you. Parent to myself the way you were unable. Thank you. My cat is destroying all of the food I have on my table. And the man of the hour, the lovely Jerry. I am so excited to be here tonight. This is the poem that spoke to me most, I think, out of all of them. I kept going back to it. I read it more than once. And it's Two Doves Alight on a Dead Walnut Tree. The branches of this tree are fragile. A flimsy roost may be okay for sparrows and finches, but I'd rather be next door on the strong eucalyptus tree in the neighbor's evergreen backyard, shaded from the hazy glare of summer. The ground below these rotting branches has scarce pickings, useless twigs, no edible seeds, just a patch of dry grass. My mate for life finds the refuse of this barren land interesting. His beak closed and somber, he surveys the property of a human who would keep a dead tree to rot. I am ready to fly next door to scavenge for sustenance, but the love of my life tells me if we wait long enough, grains will scatter with the wind. I could eat well enough from that booty. My reflective partner poses in existential thought. I feel no wind, nor see any seeds or feed. Suddenly, the branch below my contemplative spouse starts to quiver from squirrels playing tag. He flaps to me. Maybe there is something interesting to ponder next door after all. Of course, I am ready to fly, but I must wait while my husband adjusts his feathers, takes a longing look through filtered smog at the dry and brittle grass we once called home. Fine, I coo and fly up to the power lines, away from the dead branches. I hope that the old pigeon is ready to lift and avoid the fall that comes when dry wood smacks.
Thank you very much, Bryn. A wonderful sentiment that you shared of Jerry being your poetry poetry daddy.
Poetry grandpa, yeah.
Poetry grandpa. Very much. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that fine poem of his as well too. Proud to introduce you to our next poet, a Moontide poet. Daniel Mcginn is a native of Whittier, California. He's led writing workshops at Half Off Books, the Orange County Rescue Mission, charter schools, and poetry venues, and now preschool. Daniel received his MFA in writing from Vermont College of Fine Arts. Right Bloody published his first full-length collection of poetry, 1000 Black Umbrellas. Moontide published his second, The Moon, My Lover, My Mother, and the Dog. 5 of his chapbooks were included in the Laguna Poets series. Daniel has been a regular contributor to Next Magazine and the OC Weekly. He also curated a reading series at Beans Coffee House in Whittier, California, and was a member of the 1996 Los Angeles Slam team. Daniel has been married to the poet and painter Lori Mcginn for, the bio says 41 years, but I know this is a little bit of an older bio, so I think it's more than 41 years now. So without further ado, please give it up for Daniel Mcginn, everyone.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Here we go. I'm going to start. I'm just going to go ahead and read the poem of Jerry's that I selected. Am I coming through okay? Because I'm not in speaker view. I'm coming through okay. Okay. This is called From Dawn to Dusk. Surfing on the tail of a comet through inky cosmos, dodging space trash, rock, dust, and ice. Hanging 5 through atmospheres of unknown globes, gesturing to ancient spheres like friends on the shoreline, gliding easily in the quiet night of space. With an unsuspected jolt, the devil himself claims the comet's perch, pushing me off the tail. Alone in a flat spin, I see the demagogue riding my meteor like a chariot, streaking clutter through the galaxy, hand raised in pontification, screaming at the fire of the sun. Shivering awake in a room colored by liquid crystal, 3:30 in the morning, red. Sleep cut short with miles to go, jury tones play like cello and bassoon, provocative at their pace, performing to the inconsequential audience of a man losing his wings and falling back to earth. Bleary-eyed waking hours, pissed off, hungry, dreaded sense memory conquering optimism. On an automobile journey through retail strips of vanishing industry and auto repair shops, grocery stores, leaving the flatlands on winding roads toward a mythic city, tires roll over canyon dust, dried bougainvillea scatters, broken stems crackle under worn tires as the sun rises over the ridge that separates Jam cityscape from spacious suburbia. It becomes a pristine day. Even the often grungy flatlands sparkle like a box of jewels. That's from the brand new work by Jerry Garcia that is available today on Moontide Press. When Jerry asked me to read, he said it was because he felt an affinity to my work, and he likes me. But, you know, we both kind of write old dog poems also about our old dogs and about our relationships. And I'm always driving somewhere too. So I chose this because it's also, I really like the Icarus reference in the middle of the poem. A friend of mine has tattooed on her body, Amanda Matthews, the poet and writer, Icarus flew, which is a quote from a poem by, oh God, it's Jack Gilbert. I'll go ahead and read poetry now. The fat boy sings, "See how circular I become, cool as a toad, green as a cucumber. I lay down a shadow from end to end, crossing the sidewalk, bending up buildings. A shadow implies the presence of sun, as in Sunday, as in the sun is beating my brow and bouncing off asphalt in ripples and waves. This morning, I stepped out the door, phone in hand, my signal bouncing off of satellites. This is how my body moves, how it stops and starts like red, yellow, green every morning here. If I look to my left, I see Disneyland, 9 o'clock traffic slowed by silhouettes in mouse-eared hats. I call you when the traffic stops moving, hoping to talk to your machine because with voicemail, I can say all kinds of crazy shit without fear of interaction, interruption, or interpretation. My shadow is an empty cup leaning over the sink. My shadow is lying down in deep pile carpet. The trick is emerging from my shadow like fruit and branches, keeping legs behind feet, keeping moving, only to stop and shake hands and say, excuse me, I must be going. And even if I was dying, I would be on time. And I love you, even with all these tears. You know, I never would have married you if there wasn't a little madness in the family. This is the baggage I'll carry to our room where I always open the door for you. You know me like you know my shadow, like my shadow knows you, like we're all that remains in the world. Shadow embracing a shadow after the sun goes down, your branches tangled into my branches, breathing and breathing and breathing until our breathing stops. No one is sleeping here except our shadows. We lie in the bed side by side and I stare at the ceiling. You kiss the toad, but he remains a toad after a long, hard day. So we share the long relationship. He just had gallbladder surgery. This is, old guy stuff. I had a heart valve replacement. And our lives go on, much to our surprise. Together, poem. My breastbone is divided and held open like butterfly wings with a shiny tool called a retractor. The surgeon will expose my bloody beaten heart, but he does this every day. This time, he will go to work on me. He will crack me open like a clam and replace my leaky valve and undo damage I was born with. My sternum will soon be closed and stitched together with stainless steel laces. These will stay in my chest and be buried with me. My flesh incision will be closed with a clear classic suture that resembles fishing line. Then tubes will be placed in my chest to drain the cavity of normal post-operative bleeding. I will carry a bag of blood and water in a briefcase up and down hospital halls. It will be difficult to breathe. I will be sent home 3 days later, and a poodle will sleep on my wound until I am healed. I will talk to the poodle a lot until the poodle is no longer a dog. The poodle is my nurse and my surprise companion. The poodle will know this and she will be fulfilled. She will begin to strut like a small pony, and the two of us will be inseparable, like Mary was with her little lamb, the one with a waggedy tail. Love poem. Your sleep was warm like a puppy. Your skin was full of highways. I drove all night and fell asleep at your wheel. This is available at Moontide Press. Try to get it in the camera. Oh, this is awkward. But we're here for Jerry. So go buy his book. Okay, I'm going to do two more. I'll give you one poem. Here we go. Water. My wife talks to strangers. My wife stopped the cart in the produce section and began talking to a woman she's never seen before about my issues with anger. This stranger happened to know a therapist who's good at helping people like me get in touch with their inner child. She agrees with my wife. I do need help. This woman I don't know jots down a phone number that I can call when I'm ready. Moments later, my wife strikes up a conversation with a homeless man in a parking lot. As she gives him $1, she points at me, and she tells him that I had a heart surgery recently, just like Rob Lowe in that television show. And I'm standing there listening to her tell a total stranger about my viewing habits and about how we don't watch the same shows anymore and how I should get a day planner because I'm getting old and I'm forgetting things. While we're driving home, she tells me stories about people I don't know. When she recalls a scene, she assumes I've seen it too, even if I wasn't there. Her life is centered on people. The truth is, I don't care about other people's lives. My mind is occupied with the things I read in books. I'd rather talk to my dog than talk to a person, and I'm a good listener whenever my dog talks to me. When I got home, I told the dog that it makes me angry when my wife tells strangers that I need help. My dog suggested we have a snack and then go for a walk. That was good advice, and it made me feel better. The last old guy poem is called The Chair. And then we get the good fortune after Tucker does another song of hearing Jerry. And this is from that bridge reading that was just wonderful that Bryn and I both were involved in. Another poet's chair is empty, like the clothing the poet used to wear, and the place at the table where John and Ed and Ralph and Kat and Jack used to sit. It's beginning to happen to poets I've known for years. We grow old and we start shrinking. Malignant cells betray us. Enlarged hearts stop. Exhausted kidneys fail. Lungs exhale for one last time, and then my friends are gone. I'm writing to you from this quiet room, surrounded by bookcases full of poetry books and essays on the craft. No one will want to read these books any more than they'll want to sit in a dead man's chair. I'm getting to an age where I know I should clear them out, so no one has to box these books and take them to the thrift store when I die. I tried. It was easy to get rid of novels, but I can't get It was easy to get rid of novels, but I can't let go of the poetry. Not yet. These books echo where I was and what I was writing when I acquired them. At least half of these books are signed and inscribed by the poets I love. Walk into my library after I die, and you will be surrounded by books, little houses for the voices of my friends. Some of them are dead. None of them were silenced. That's it.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for sharing that array of poems. It was one of my favorite poems from 1,000 Black Umbrellas. I love that poem very much about your poodle. So glad to hear that.
He's a good dog.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We are going to hear another song from Tucker Smallwood. So please, without further ado, give him another hand.
Thank you. I have two hands. Daniel, I love that you spoke about old guy shit. I just love that so much. Because this past, 52 years ago, I was pronounced dead and didn't ever expect to be an old guy. But here I am now. I had my 78th birthday on the 22nd. And this Wednesday, they put me to sleep and stuck something down my throat and took pictures and took away tissue from my innards. And I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this today. I thought, well, the good news is my voice as a blues singer has always been kind of rough. So, the rougher, the better, probably, Tucker. But I do love that old guy shit, that vibe here. And there's a number of people here. We got like at least 3 generations, probably, right? Well, I'm going to play a song. This is a pattern picking song, kind of traditional. A lot of guys have played it. It's called Make Me a Pallet on Your Floor. Won't you make me down, a pallet on your floor? Make me down, a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet, make it soft and make it low. And maybe my good gal, she won't know. I get my breakfast here and my dinner in Tennessee. I get my breakfast here and my dinner in Tennessee. I eat my breakfast here. I get my dinner in Tennessee. I told you coming, you better wait for me. But won't you make me down, a pallet on your floor? Oh, make me down, a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet, make it soft and make it low. And maybe my good gal, she won't know. Oh, don't you let my good gal catch me here. Oh, don't you let my good gal catch me here. Oh, she might cut you, might shoot, might stomp you too. Ain't no telling what you might do. Oh, make me down, pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet, make it soft and make it low. And maybe my good gal, she wanna know.
Thank you, Tucker. I think I speak for everyone. We're glad that you were able to do this today, despite having something down your throat and tissue removed, and you've got that great raspy blues voice. So we're thankful to have you with us today. All right. Well, I'm going to read his bio, but you all know him. We're here to celebrate his new book with Moontide Press, but I'll just share the bio that he's given me. And it's a fun bio. I like it. It's very informative of who the man is that is Jerry Garcia. He spent his childhood fearing the bomb during the Cold War, was a teenager during the fabled Summer of Love, and studied cinema at Loyola Marymount University during Richard Nixon's Watergate era. He's too old to have been named after the Grateful Dead guitar hero, but likes to think he can rock and roll just the same. These are the circumstances that inform his writing with references to pop culture mid-20th century history. He has been a producer and editor of television commercials, documentaries, and motion picture previews. He served on the board of trustees for the iconic Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center and is currently executive director of the BCP SoCal Poets. His poetry has been published widely in journals and anthologies and in his new book, Trumpets in the Sky. Please give it up for Jerry Garcia. It is a pleasure to have him on our press, and I am happy that he is part of the Moontide family. Jerry, please take it away.
Well, thank you, Eric. I have much to thank you for, particularly publishing my book, which has a lot of stuff close to me, special to me. Happy to have the group of people that came to hear it today. I mean, everybody from my oldest friend from high school to my wife's oldest friend from college. So this is pretty cool. And Daniel, I don't know what to say except, yeah, you and I've known you the longest. Daniel was the first guy in a poetry reading when I was a young poet. Daniel's been doing this a lot longer than I have, although he's really not much older. But Daniel was the first guy, I swear to God, that I remember this, to find me after I read a poem at Beyond Baroque, and I was coming back to my seat, and he did that thing where he just kind of stared me down till he got my attention to give me one of these. And I don't even remember what the poem and circumstances was, but that was pretty cool. And then Bryn is just a fantastic person, and they write. They're I don't know anybody who writes journal work better than some of the open micers I've heard over the years. So thank you, Bryn. Thank you for choosing the poem you chose. My wife's here, of course, but we'll talk about her later. And everybody else, thank you. I'm going to start with the beginning of the book and read through in somewhat of an order. And here we go. Trumpets in the Sky. Through scattered clouds, pink and thin, silver jets spark yearnings for adventure. Power lines scratch black strokes on cobalt. The full glide of a Cooper's hawk casts gray shadows before talons hook wire. A bluff side turns orange with twilight, lovers' hands silhouette in promise as the last remaining sun rays mute. Distant aircraft reflect the blaze of further western time zones. Late for home, sparrows bullet towards shelter. Incandescent fragments open across the valley, neon signs glow on street travelers riding roadsters. Outlines of passion grow opaque against evening firmament. Diamond stars dress the blue-black curtain that introduces the obvious moon. This next poem was influenced by a ride home from Ventura County, from when they used to have live readings at the Topping Room up there, and so I'll just read it to you. Human touch. Headlights follow me like a jet squadron in formation, 4 lanes, 8 lights, blurring from my exhaustion, eyes reverting from rear view to red glowing dots ahead. When darkness came down like a curtain drawn, no lampposts, no cars, no reflections, completely opaque like Sister Margaret Mary's story about the world's end. I became weightless, a sprite in ocean air. My vehicle no longer carried me. I became awash in crashing waves. The sea was black with white caps. Was it moonlight or a patrolman's flashlight? I might have been floating. I might have been drowning. I might have been flying. You found me in a hospital after days, you said. I might have been in outer space attempting inventory of countless stars, or maybe they were specks of sand at the bottom of the briny deep. You didn't have a clue where I'd gone, but fed the dog and tended to the roses while waiting. You could be holding my hand right now, or I might be attached to a comet hurtling through the galaxy long before the earth held water or human touch came to be. This next poem I wrote was actually a response to a Jackson Browne song, "The Drums of War," but I further developed it after the Charlottesville White Supremacists Unite the Right rally. In living room sanctuaries, evening news repeats washed out images of ancient turbulence in shithole countries. On Main Street, demonstrators carry torches to proclaim their liberty in a dogmatic battle between founding fathers' freedom and the right to hate their neighbor. Pepsi Light quenches our thirst as we watch swarms of protests in faded pixels of satellite color. In the absence of labels, foreign zocolos renounce narcissism. On inhabited hillsides, taste for hedonism fuses sympathetic thoughts with hot tub spirituality. The indulgences of leisure block blighted images of remote skirmishes. Drums of sacrifice echo far off melee to battle hymns of skinhead pride through coast to coast dinner time. Not even the weather report serves up equanimity in these pandemic days. Plastic in the wallet satisfies temporal yearnings. It clings to what importance technology gleans. Challenged by the indifference of avarice, the heart ignores its call to care. The mind does not create means to follow distant struggles or feed the hungry across the street. We turn off the TV, drink a cup of tea in silence. I forgot to warn you that I made a reference to a former president's bad use of characterization. Anyway. Okay, Daniel. This is my first of 2 dog poems. And this one is called Dog Years, and it's for our dog. We don't talk much. Jaffe doesn't leave my side except to be with my wife. When she is in the bedroom and I am in the den, he stretches like a rug across the hallway. A Secret Service agent watching its charges, eyeing our every move. Jaffe, named for a Jack Kerouac character, will someday be gone, waking me at 3 a.m, forgetting that he needs to pee. That old man of a canine stands in the kitchen, stares at the floor tile, his mind apparently lost. I hold the door open, sniff for skunk. Like an old jalopy, he restarts, moving slowly over the threshold. Coyotes jump fences when it's worthwhile. Now I have become Jaffe's guard. When he returns, I offer the puppy treat he expects. Once a ploy to suggest using the backyard as his potty, 15 years later, it has become our old couple's ritual. Named for a Jack Kerouac character, Jaffe the dog will someday be gone. And there he is. If you can find my wife in all those little squares, that's Jaffe. I'm going to take a moment to thank Elizabeth, who's here. How are you? How are you calling yourself on here? Anyway, Iamato, I will say, who helped me with a lot of these poems, not just with the commas and spaces and capitalizations and our favorite things, hyphens, but she made some very valid suggestions, and she helped me a lot with that last poem. Okay, so a little water. Radiance. In the non-insulated garage of my mind, a lone mechanic cranks a vise, pressuring the cranium until stars spill through my ears. He bangs, clangs, and pings with a magic sheet metal hammer. Then he drills little holes. Bright shards fall onto my bed, illuminating the darkened room before floating freeform into the galaxy. It's a ride to be seen, a Studebaker golden hawk dodging the flotsam and jetsam of space. When that manic car superimposes the sun, it looks luminous for a moment, flames out, and returns to my globe as a scorched hunk of steel. Earth no longer needs her exquisite beauty. When daylight rises, I devote myself to finding pieces of my once magnificent automobile in the gray matter that built it. Chasing the daring cipher of thought, I will scratch letters on paper or tap, tap, tap the keyboard with continued shades and color, flashing radiance in the quiet morning air. This is a poem dedicated to Michelangelo Antonioni, who was a fantastic Italian filmmaker, and he made this counterculture movie called Blow Up in 1966, and it was the movie that led the way to abandoning Hollywood's infamous production code. So since then, we've been able to hear and see things in movies that during the code were restricted. But this is just a tribute, just a little tribute to the end of the movie. Clouds turn purple in the gloaming of western skies. Slow ride home, jealous-minded without a guess of why. Bird crap drops on windshield like, what else is new? Horizon steady, warmth continues as shadows meld to dark. Driving by the tennis court, ball lobs high. A shutter clicks, freezing time. This is a poem that Eric published in the Moontide Press anthology Dark Ink, and that was actually my first introduction to Eric, although I knew of him and I think we knew each other's names, but he accepted this poem, and I think it's pretty cool. It's called After the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. She wears my wife's apron, but her meatloaf is without flavor. And though the 56 screen police will not let us make love, I assure you she no longer possesses passion. In a village demolished by fear, citizens look vacuous with an undercurrent of mean. Parties are sedate affairs of finger sandwiches and fruit punch. Even the Catholic parish has relinquished gold investments for Geneva drab. Barbers play crossword puzzles because hair no longer grows, faces no longer shadow. Beauticians drink tea since makeup never smudges. Maids read old comic books as glass never spots from rain. Policemen do not use sirens. There are no heroic measures for gunshots. The wounded just bleed to death. And here's another dog poem. And this one, I want to thank Tucker again. He plays kind of music I'd like to play. I have like 3 guitars myself, and all I do is strum them. Strum, 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 a little, Peter Paul and Mary folk music. Anyway, this poem is kind of, I'll dedicate this to Tucker and see what he thinks. It's called Half Songs by the Sea. Heron gulls stagger through gust and garbage in clouds almost green like uncut peridot. On the esplanade, sand swirls high, batters my face, rotting timber shreds at my feet on a deck in need of new stain. A scruffy orphan dog finds an equally tatty wicker chair and beckons me aboard an abandoned mariner's porch. Fog makes guitar strings go flaccid. I play boldly out of tune, the dog howling along, thick air muffling our verse. I could stay beachside all day with my shabby chorus, tuning and retuning in service of unfinished songs. Scattering birds spin and glide like quarter notes inscribing diminished chords in gloomy skies. I want to read a poem that's not in the set that I planned to read, but I found it quickly in the book, CBS receipt. And this is because something both Bryn and Daniel made me think about. I'm not really religious. My spirituality has its own kind of style. But the day before my older brother died, I did have a dream. And this is a very simple acrostic. It's called Railroad Ties. Rain arrives insouciantly late. Road weary, overnight steerage companions, all receiving blessings, diesel pistons, fire, absolution. Talisman rosaries tightly wrapped inside eyes of salvation. All right. Now, I'm going to move on to this another semi-political poem, but I'm reading it because I saw Macbeth the other night, the tragedy of Macbeth. This is not about that. It's called, it's based on Tempest. And it was written while I was on a seaside vacation during the Gore versus Bush presidential campaign in the year 2000, which makes me perfect to be someone's grandfather in here. Anyway, this is, it is called Tempest. Small vessels rise, fall, splinter on pinnacles of Prospero's wave. Heavens burst, white lightning, squalls fold battalion sails, seabirds push against pulverizing winds. Channel islands crumble from unwitting spells cast by a mad governor. Weathered dinghies rock on heaving green seas. Antonio buckets water time after time to exhaustion. Our only escape is to let him drown. On higher ground, drenching rain soils trousers and compassion too. In the wicked mood of the afterstorm, Ferdinand implores Miranda, I will need you to hold my hand. Tsunami warnings make no sense when guideposts have already fallen flat. think I'm, yeah. A couple more here. This is called Cleanliness of Sand. Sky lanterns flood the evening desert. Colors from the heavens illuminate wilderness. The risks of misadventure brought me to this alcove of granite. Once a hazard to those who would be my friends, I watch as family and colleagues glimmer as new constellations in this spectacle of space. The fierceness of galaxies frighten me. How long before I join this richness of gas and matter? A hand I have not seen for almost a lifetime reaches through smoky constellations to tap my shoulder. Having survived a wasteland of recklessness, wisdom arrives amidst the desert buzz. I am not the salvation the world needs that once I thought I could be. With outstretched branches, a yucca tree blesses me. Mellow breeze awakens a shallow sleep. My body stands against a firm bed of brush and stone. Like a desert weed, my feet plant firmly in sand. Okay, I'm going to do two more. This poem is written after a poem by Robert Cray. Does anybody besides Tucker know who that is? Yes, of course, Daniel. Anyway, he's a great blues singer, and I'm sorry if I insulted anybody by saying that. Anyway, this is a thing I do where I take a song by somebody, and I've done it with Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan and a few other people. And I take their song and make it my poem. So this is based on a song by Robert Cray called "Time Makes Two." Fingers pluck Stratocaster frets, harp-like staccato chirp echoes on a dark walk between stone-cold buildings. Blue tenor notes ride the lonely reverb of November nighttime chill. With E-string thumb slap, gnarled, strangled triads tie up your gut like the lone wolf cry of a snowy movie set night. Leaves scatter by your boots, butler bow crosses double bass, wind flutters ear, and the conductor batons his somber movement of symphonic poise. Affections disperse into ether, cymbals sing shrill despair, guitar solo burns like the hurting echoes of a lover's name. Horns blow like tree rattling winds under icy skies of sorrow. Wintered streets are glittered, strewn with courting couples who whistle in passing. Violins and cellos arco as tugging guitar fades into memory. You turn up your collar to cold winds, blow warm air into prayered hands, and take another brooding walk with time. I'm going to do one more poem. I want to thank you, Eric. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank Eric. Thank your great team. Beautiful promos, and just I'm really pleased with how the book looks and how everything advertising it looks. So, thank you. This is the last poem. This poem was not going to be the last poem. It was going to be the penultimate poem, which is a word I don't normally use, but it had been the second to last poem. And again, my guide, Elizabeth, suggested I make it the last poem. And she read it back to me, and I said, wow, yeah, okay, it's going to be the last poem. So this closes my reading and closes the book. Floating. Hollow out the trunk of a redwood tree and launch upon broken glass. Skim the green-blue waves and cup the salty foam. Watch it dissipate like the shore you leave behind. lay back in the rough-hewn hull, hands blocking the midday sun, brackish spray cools the burn of forehead and cheeks, a grasp of freedom on the open sea. Night arrives with its celestial array, continue drifting in this boat, whittled from a life of misread instructions, lost among whitecaps with a badly printed map of unremarkable stars.